Pole position, we have Simon Edwards, a mere 16 one-thousandths of a second ahead of Lee Hughes in second, with Adam Miles in third, Tom Ward in fourth, Benny Simonson in fifth, and Ewan Pattinson in sixth. Clark Williams in 7th, Anthony Catt in 8th, Nicholas Von Roberts in 9th, and George Mattock rounding out the top 10. Nathan Wade is P11, Daniel Tufts is number 12, Anthony P.M. Jones in 13th, Tony Stack in 14th, Christopher Miles 15th, Seth Brown 16th, Ray Peasley in 17th, Mark Van Dalen in 18th, Dave Kirkman in 19th, and Dave M. Dowson rounding out the top 20. And I believe we have Daniel with us now. Daniel, welcome to the Monday Night Skippies.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Sorry, I had a bunch of issues, but we're good now. I'm here. Yeah, excited. I do love watching the Skippies. They're good fun to watch, and there's definitely some good drivers that can get these cars around tracks.
In my opinion, one of the best series is on iRacing, non-stop action. Like I said before, last time we were here, we had 5 wide coming into the first corner with 2 laps to go. So anything can happen here. Obviously, Benny Simonson not too far back, but still in 5th position. Going to give him some work to do that he's not used to doing in this series. So interesting to see what can happen there. So all 37 cars looks like they are turning out on the grid. So still a pretty decent sized grid here as we're waiting for 6th place Ewan Pattinson to take the grid, and also I believe George Mattock a little bit further back. Nathan Wade that would be. So 2 cars and then we are going. What's your experience of this track then, Daniel?
Well, I've raced Suzuka. I raced Suzuka in IMSA and ILMS when I did have my iRacing subscription alive. Currently expired, but I'm looking to actually renew it today or tomorrow. But it is a good, fun track. I love Suzuka. I played it on the F1 games as well. It's just a very technical track. You just got to get everything right. Just going into turn 1 now, you've just got to be so light on the brake yet so heavy.
He's had a little bit of a peak there up the inside of Simon Edwards for the lead, but he did back out, so they're going to be side by side here now for P4. Tom Ward is going to get clear there as well, though. Here comes Simonson though with a late dive up the inside. Now he's got the outside for the next corner here through the snakes. So Pattinson is going to be up the inside of him. Now back to the inside. This corner just keeps going back and forth both ways, so now they're back to single file all the way through the top 15, top 20. And it looks like everybody is getting through here. Simon Maltby has had a bit of an issue further back, dropping back, and David Clapham has been off as well. But other than that, a fairly clean start here. We're used to seeing some big early crashes here in the Skippies, especially on this track. But it looks like everybody gets through nicely, and the whole almost top 25 here is single file. So Simon Edwards holding on to the lead here at the start of the race. Adam Miles getting close up behind Lee Hughes here. He backs out early, though not going to make much of a move. Simonson having another look, but backs out as well. So Pattinson now back around the outside of him. Still single file once more, coming through 200R here now back up the hill. There's a couple of cars in the gravel back behind, but it looks like they will keep it back on the track and keep on going. Aaron Gearing has lost the position back as well behind Brian J. Holmes in that hairpin, now coming back onto the straightaway for the first time. And this is where we get to see now the first time in this race how big the draft really is, and I would not expect Simon to be leading coming down to 130R at the end of this track.
Yeah, you got to be careful coming into the 130R. You go through that wrong or take the wrong line and you're going into the wall. There we go. Goes up the inside. Always good to go up the inside into 130R. Gets the move done just before the corner. Like they'll get through quite cleanly. 2 wide coming into the chicane now. Oh, that's a good move up the inside there.
Oh, we got contact back behind. I believe that's Pattinson running into the back of Benny Simonson. Was a bit of a stack up there as they went 2 by 2. Now here comes Nicholas Von Roberts with a run. He's going to make it 3 wide. That's going to be 2 wide as Pattinson backs out. Now he's going to move to the outside instead of Simonson, but it does not look like Von Roberts is getting the run. Backs out of the draft again. Going to be 2 by 2 coming in here. Benny Simonson holds onto that position, but now he's got his work cut out for him. He goes a little bit wider. He might have some damage to that car. So Vaughan Roberts is coming through. Here comes Pattinson as well, making it almost 3 wide. Simonson gets the speed back in his machine now and comes back in front. These guys all over each other through the SS. Are changing positions back and forth. Wonder how this is going to end. I believe Benny might have had some sort of an issue there after that little contact, because he did drift out a little bit in turn number 1, but it looks like he is back going now. So got about a 1 second gap now to Tom Ward ahead of him, but if they can just stay within that 1 second, they should be getting enough draft coming down into 130R next time to close that gap, especially if they go 2x2 ahead. But Lee Yu's now in the lead after having taken it on the last lap, so we'll see what these 4 at the front can do. Tom Ward at the back of Adam Miles as he goes in the wall. Benny Simonson hits the wall and he's going to spin out. Looks like everybody avoids him though, but he did get some sort of damage from that incident earlier, and that would be his race almost done and over with. He will be able to get a spare car, but that is definitely not going to help his race, so this will probably be one of his 2 drop weeks. So pretty much race over there, I would say, for Benny Simonson as he's falling down the order.
Yeah, not something you like to see, but does happen when you're tight racing in the first couple of laps. You really want to get your eye in at Suzuka. It's really hard to get your eye in, because it's such a long track, and once you get your eye in and you're comfortable with the track, then it's a lot easier to be more smooth and consistent. Yeah, he's just, oh wow, just got on the gravel there.
Loss of a rear wing, not going to hurt you too much, but I believe that suspension is not going to be too quick. You can see him coming down the straight here. Cars are just flying past him on both sides. He's down to 28th, now 29th. He's going to be 30th by the time they enter this corner. As they're 2x2 ahead, a couple of cars going a little bit wide there on the outside, almost coming 3 wide here into the final chicane here, the Casio Triangle. On board now with Tim Adcock, who is in 19th place, working on Brian J. Holmes, sorry about that. Mark Van Dalen right behind him. See if he can get some sort of draft here now coming onto the straightaway. Van Dalen actually pulls onto pit road as well, so he's got some sort of an issue there. That is not what he wanted to see. So Holmes and Adcock now with Cohen and Beard right behind, battling for P number 18. But at the front, Simon Edwards did retake the lead on that lap as we have a car going off in the first corner.
I think he saved it. He saved it? Like it? That was a lovely save to catch that slide
there from Brian Holmes. I'm not really sure how he did that, but only lost 3 positions, so still in the same battle that he was in. Gonna lose some spots obviously, but amazing job from him to keep that car going straight. As we have another car going off, and that's gonna be contact. That's Peter Cohen and Tim Adcock going off the side of the road into the barrier. Adcock went a little bit too wide, lost the car and collected Peter Cohen. What an unfortunate turn of events right there. And that is race over for both of those guys as we get a replay here of that little save that he had. Goes a little bit too high on the curb there, Holmes, and drifts it all the way around the first corner. Makes a nice little save, keeps it actually on the track even, doesn't even go off to the AstroTurf, and does not lose much at all. And I believe that might have saved him from being in that next incident as we're on board here with Tim Adcock. See what happened to him as he comes through the next part of the snake, and then I think he's just going to go a little bit too wide around this right-hander, clip the grass, and just going to lose the car and straight into the side of Tim Adcock. Yeah, just a little bit too wide, and there's nowhere for Adcock to go. Just gets punted into the fence and race over for both of those guys. Back at the front though, it's still Simon Edwards leading from Lee Hughes, Tom Ward and Adam Miles, and these guys are doing the good old working together that they always do here, switching for the lead right at the end of the straight to gain maximum speed to try and pull away, and that gap is now up to 2.2 seconds, so these guys are just going to keep doing this for, I believe, at least the next 8 laps or something, and then they'll just race it out for the last couple of laps, see what sort of gap they can get. Behind them it's Vaughan Roberts, Pattinson and Cat fighting it out. PM Jones just passed Clark Williams as well, but back at the front it's Lee Hughes once more ahead of Simon Edwards with Tom Ward and Adam Miles right on his tail.
Yeah, good to see drivers helping each other, but you said before the last time we came here that we had a 5 wide. I think they keep racing like this, we're going to have 4 wide with 2 laps to go.
when it's go time for these guys, they are definitely not going to hold back, but it looks like they are building that gap. They actually lost a little bit of time that time around. The gap's now 1.9 seconds, so they did gain slightly on that lap. Now on board here with Adam Miles at the back of this pack, see how close he can get, but they're not going to be doing too much through the SS here, I don't think. If he gets a gap, obviously he'll go for it, but I think Adam Miles would be well happy finishing here within the top 5. Behind them we have a train of 11 cars stretching from Nicholas Von Roberts in 5th down to Ray Peasley in 15th. And these guys all over each other here through the S's, obviously trying to work a little bit together, but I'm not sure you can get 11 drivers to agree to do that, so he's going to have to watch out. Pattinson all over the back here, wanting to get that 5th position, and Cat back there as well. He's used to racing with the leader, so he does definitely not want to sit back here. A little bit wider from Von Roberts, but not too wide, so he does keep control of the car. Coming out into the kink, down into the hairpin. See what they will do. No moves being made here now. Around the hairpin, nice and smooth, coming up into 130R, and that gap has come down a little bit more now up to Adam Miles. It's down to 1.7, so they're actually doing a better job back here, and they could be within reach to get that slipstream coming down the straightaway now to, in a couple of laps, be catching up to that lead pack, and we could have a massive train stretching from the leader all back down to 15th if they keep going at it this good back here. Simon Edwards has dropped a little bit of a gap to Leah Hughes up ahead, but here we come onto the straightaway. See what sort of a draft they will get back here. Here comes Simon Edwards now closing up to Leah Hughes. Leah Hughes is not going to cover whatsoever. Edwards is going to move to the left, take over that lead, and then Tom Ward will just stay behind Leah Hughes into 130R. They're going to be nose to tail, and the guys behind, they are getting drafted slightly. The gap did not change that time around, so at the moment the guys from 5th on back is doing a much better job than the front 4.
Yeah, how crucial is that draft here at Suzuka? It's one of the things that you're going to need if you want to be fighting with anyone. If you want to be getting back up the front, just have to have a draft. It's very hard to pass here as well if you don't have it. Get that slipstream and pick it on the inside now. Oh, it's a good move going into turn 1 from Adam Miles, getting into 3rd place there. Up into the podium positions.
Gap to the group behind now down to 1.4 seconds as we're coming around the S's here, so that gap is definitely coming down. Simon Edwards and Lee Hughes, they're doing whatever they can, but they're not getting enough help from the cars behind, and not really sure what they can actually do. But the guys back there, they are getting some draft from the cars ahead. You can see visually now the gap has come down. It's 1.4 now as we're coming around the snake here, coming back up to the little crossover section, one of the few tracks in the world that actually has a crossover. Let's see what they can do. They're all over each other, but they're not making any passes other than when they're in the draft. Looking back now from Simon Edwards, he's got 3 cars there, but soon it's going to be 11 as we have 5th all the way down to 12th. George Matic has pulled a little bit of a gap from there to Christopher Miles, as Miles Peasley and Stack has been battling for 13th, 14th and 15th now, coming around the hairpin, and the gap is coming down even more. It's down to 1.3 seconds as we're following the 17 there coming around. He's George Matic all the way back in 12th, so the last car in this group. Looking a little bit wide here is Nicholas Von Roberts. Probably does not want to make a move though, just want to set himself up to get a little bit more of a run on Pattinson as they're coming back onto the straightaway. Coming around the corner now, see what they will do. The gap is down to 1.3 seconds, almost down to 1.2, so this time they will get a lot of draft, and within a couple of laps I believe this is going to be one long train all the way back from the lead.
That's the lead cars in front there. They're catching, I don't know if they're catching, sorry, but it looks like they are probably going to be close enough, sorry, that on the last couple of laps when they are fighting they'll make up the positions, provided they work together and try and get back up to them. But it's a good fight going on here. You can see how close they race. It's ridiculously close. Just that very minimal margin for error.
Nicholas Von Roberts retaking position 5 there as well from Ewan Pattinson. Now it's him leading the way in the draft, and that pass cost them a little bit of time now. That gap has gone up again to 1.5 seconds, so that is not what they wanted to see. They are losing time from battling each other, as we saw Ward there as well getting the position back from Adam Miles, but back now in 5th position is Pattinson as he retakes that position, and I believe he is probably the best leader to have coming through the S's here down to Dunlop curve. As we have a replay here of these guys as further back, that's Neil Andrews is involved in that. Had a little bit of a 3 wide moment. They're making contact, everybody's going around, one car taking the shortcut or the other chicane, and then 2 cars parking there. That would be Andrews, and I believe Holmes might have been involved in that as well, as he's on pit road. Kevin Budgeon was there too, so unfortunate for those guys. But back here with the second group chasing down the leaders, they have got that gap back down to 1.4 seconds, sorry. See, visually again, they are getting really close. We're on board here with Anthony PM Jones in 8th position. He's doing the best he can to keep on the back of Anthony Cat, but he doesn't want to make a move here and drop himself and Cat back from these cars ahead, as they are really close now. It's down to 1.2 seconds here coming around the hairpin. Up through 200R, up to Spoon Curve again. We're on lap number 6, so we are approaching halfway, but these guys, they're getting ever closer. The question is, will they be able to get there? Not catching as quickly as I thought. But when they get within that 1 second limit, I think that draft is going to help them out massively coming down the straightaway here down to 130R. But it looks like we're still a couple of laps out of that, as Pattinson gets a little bit wider on the curve, gets a little bit sideways. That's definitely going to hurt their momentum now coming down the straightaway. But here comes Von Roberts. He's going to have a look. Will he make the pass?
Yeah, it looks like they've actually lost a bit of time there to the lead pack. Gone down to 2.2. I think at the start of the lap they're about 2/10 quicker than that. So you can see that just what happens when they just start squabbling a little bit, start fighting. It definitely looks like Pattinson's looking for the move. Actually, sorry, he's looking for the move. Sorry, looking for the move to get that position 5 back. They're going to need probably a mistake from the leaders here.
They are catching at the beginning of the lap, and then when they get on the straightaway, when they should be getting the draft, they're actually losing out. I believe Pattinson played a part in that with his sideways moment onto the straight there. But Von Roberts is still holding that position, as Simon Edwards is now back in the lead, having swapped coming down to 130R as per usual. See what Von Roberts can do here coming through the S curves now. Pattinson right on his tail, and the gap all of a sudden down to 1.5 again. It's coming down through these corners, and then it goes right back up down the straight. So not really sure what they're doing differently. Maybe they've got a little bit different tire pressures, so they're not going quite as quick down the straightaway. But I think that's about the only thing you can do on the Skippys is change the tire pressure. So it's something in there, because Edwards and Lee Hughes, they just seem to have a little bit more speed than these guys back here, as the gap is still coming down at 1.4 seconds as we're coming into Degner curve, and then back to the crossover here through turn number 9. You can see them well wide on the AstroTurf there, carrying as much speed as they possibly can, a little bit out in the gravel there for Pattinson and Cat, but nothing that's going to cost them any time. And they're right back on them again. The gap is now down to 1.1 seconds. It might even be down below a second as we come out of the hairpin here, and this could be crucial. Can he keep it within a second as they get onto the straight? Is that going to be enough for Nicholas Von Roberts? It is right on the money of being here. 1 second the gap from 4th down to 5th. Adam Miles is dropping off a little bit from Tom Ward as well, and that is definitely not going to help. Here comes Nicholas Von Robertson. This is probably the most important spoon curve that he has ever taken. If he can get it right, he could be in the draft of the lead pack. If he gets it wrong, he's going to drop off here to come onto the straightaway. Lee is going to have an early look here on Simon Edwards, I believe, to retake the lead. The gap from Miles down to Von Roberts is just under a second, but is that going to be enough as they get the draft off the leaders here? Lee Hughes making the move on Edwards, and Miles is making a move on Tom Ward back here as well. They're going to be side by side through 130R, and that is going to do it. That is going to let the second gap close up the little bit that they were missing. So now it is a train from the leaders all the way back down to P12, just because he lost more patience there, decided to make a move, and now he's got Pattinson and Von Roberts right on his tail. It's all of a sudden a 12-car battle for the lead here, David.
Yeah, I was actually listening to the cars there, and it sounded like they weren't actually going full throttle, and that was a that's alright. It sounded like it was an organized sort of move, because it sounded like Ward there actually lifted off down into 130R. So I wonder if maybe that was a bit of tactics going on. Maybe they bunched it up on purpose to maybe try and cause an incident back there or something like that. But yeah, you can see Miles is just dropping off here a little bit, but Tom Ward, is it Tom Ward?
Tom Ward is up into second now. Yeah, he is not holding back.
He's,
so that
he's
was strategy
flying.
from him.
He is hungry for that win.
Like you say, that was probably tactics from him to try and get that back group up here so they can start racing. He's not wanting to cooperate with the other guys. He wants to be in the lead here to take this win. Definitely, and everybody now on the train here now. There's basically no way to get rid of anybody in this train unless there's a bit of an incident. The last car, George Mattock, is about 4 seconds back. But with these cars and how much draft they get coming down the straightaway, I don't think that is going to be an issue for him. He can claw his way back up into the top 10 here easily if he just has some patience. We're still only on lap 8 here out of 12 as well, so still a lot of time to go. We're only 2/3 of the way through. Now Tom Ward is going to get the draft on Lewis. I believe he will be leading coming to the end of this lap unless he makes a mistake, and unless Simon Edwards has something else planned here, and he might even go 3 wide into 130R. But we're coming through Spoon Curve here now onto the straightaway first. See what will happen. They're all nose to tail. A little bit of a gap up to Lewis there to get a little bit extra momentum. Clark Williams has a little bit of a gap behind him as well, down to Nathan Wade there from 9th to 10th. So those back three might actually be losing it here. And now Lewis is trying another tactic. He's going defensive. Edwards behind him, but Tom Ward around the outside. Oh, it's contact!
It's contact!
Adam Miles turns Simon Edwards into the wall. Simon Edwards tried to block when he wasn't clear, and he is in defense, so he will not be winning this race. He's still going, but he's way back down in 12th place as Tom Ward is in the lead here. Adam Miles up to 3rd with that, and Liu still back in 2nd. But I'm not sure Simon Edwards was all the way clear there when he moved in front of Adam Miles. Gonna have to get a replay before I say anything more about that, but it is Adam Miles. Sorry, Tom Ward leading the way, but here comes Lewis. He's looking up the inside. They're side by side behind as well. That's Miles and Von Roberts. Here comes Lewis, though. He's back up to the lead. Von Roberts and Miles behind up the inside there. Here comes Miles. He's going to move into 2nd. Looks like Ward is going to get the overspeed on the outside. Oh, now he has the inside as well for the S's as we get the replay here. Simon Edwards, he comes out and no, he's not clear. Well, the nose cone there of Adam Miles hooks on the back end of Edwards' car and sends him into the fence, but he was not clear there, I don't think. So bit of a racing incident there, I believe.
Yeah, it's good. I'm thinking, what position would you like to be on the final lap going down into 130R? I reckon you'd want to be in 2nd. I think Ward has overtaken him and is going to, and then just let him retake the position so that on the last lap, provided he makes no mistakes, he can get that slipstream and that draft down into 130R and take the position, and then overall take the win.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's happening to Tom Ward here, though. He had a bit of a wiggle there coming under the crossover down into the hairpin. Now he's down to 3rd, and he's going to have to defend from Von Roberts, who's passing him now to 4th. So not really sure what has happened there, but Tom Ward is going backwards, and his rear wing looks a bit bent, so he has had some sort of an incident. Not really sure what's going on there, but from the lead down to 5th now all of a sudden. But like you say, 2nd position looks like it is the best place to be here on the final lap, as long as you're right on in contact with the leader. But I'm thinking maybe 3rd can make it 3 wide and make a move forward as well. Then obviously you have the Casio triangle making a dive into the final chicane as well. It's definitely doable, so it's definitely not going to be over until they get to the start finish line, unless there's a massive crash for 2nd. As Von Roberts makes a move here, and Adam Miles now for 2nd place. He wants that position. And Lee Hughes in a comfortable leader. Here comes Panson as well at Adam Miles. He's going to get 3rd position, it looks like. He's going to be on the outside coming into Casio here, and Miles is just going to get clear. And Tom Ward now down to 6th position. See if he holds onto that car. If he pulls into the pits here, he's going to keep on going for this lap at least. Might have just been a bit of dirt on the tires there or something. He's still pushing, so see what he can do. Now coming up to lap traffic here as well. That's obviously not going to be great for these guys, but Neil Andrews doing a great job there, just pulling over, letting everybody through, all the 11 lead cars here. So nice job from him. The next lap car is still about 15 seconds up the road, so I'm not too sure that's going to be any sort of issue for these guys. They've got 3 laps to go now. Lee still leading the way from Nicholas Von Roberts, and there are still 11 drivers in this lead train spread out over 4 seconds, but it looks like the front 4 has pulled a little bit here. So at the moment it's between Lee Hughes, Von Roberts, Adam Miles and Ewan Pattinson for the lead.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what happened to Ward there. It looked like he was losing a lot of time. doesn't look like he's getting as much slipstream as he was before and getting enough speed. So I wonder if you're right and there is a little bit of wing damage or something like that, but it didn't look like he had any contact, so maybe it was just an error.
He might have been ran over a bit from behind by somebody, because I did not see him off the track at any point, but obviously there's a lot to look at, so it's easy to miss. But now he's keeping right on the back of Anthony PM Jones here, though that gap to the leaders has opened up to over a second, and that is that crucial 1 second mark that you need to get enough draft coming down the front straightaway. Nicholas Von Roberts at the front here going wide around 200R to get enough of a gap up to Lee Hughes coming in to Spoon, to get enough of a run coming down towards 130R to easily be able to make that move. But he gets really close here in Spoon as well. I'm wondering if maybe Lee Hughes is lifting off slightly to make sure that Von Roberts is right on his tail and not 5-10 car lengths back to be able to get that run. Could be some tactics as well, because you do know that if you're leading coming onto here, there's nothing you can do to defend. You just have to do what's giving them the least amount of a run. He slots in behind now, behind Von Roberts, in front of Adam Miles, covering off that second position, and now I believe Lee Hughes is in the prime position. But here comes Adam Miles. He's not going to be satisfied. He's going to make a dive into Casio. Now Lee Hughes has the inside for the next corner, and he will be clear. So here comes Pattinson on Miles. He's got the outside coming onto the straightaway now through the last curve. So who is going to get the draft? Oh, another contact.
Oh.
That's going to send Pattinson spinning into the wall. Adam Miles is going to get away with that, I believe. But Pattinson just tried to pinch him. Oh, as he tries to get going, there's Tufts, and PM Jones comes flying around the corner as well. But Pattinson tried to squeeze him and it did not work, and he ends up spinning out. So unfortunate for him. But Adam Miles is now still in third. And the battle between Von Roberts and Lee Hughes for the win is definitely going to be heating up here as we have 2 laps to go. But let's not forget, they cannot back out to try and give the other guy the lead, because these guys are just over a second behind. So still got to go for it full throttle. And see here, it's quite hard to tell there actually. It might have been Miles that pushed out a little bit as Pattinson was just trying to keep tight on him, but Pattinson has now dropped down to 15th place, so definitely not ideal for him here. We have the front three coming around, and then Cat, Clark Williamson, Tom Ward battling behind there. So it's a trio at the front and then 5 cars battling further back as we get another replay here. They just get together. They're very, very close to each other. The wheels touch and the Pattinson ends up spinning out, so really, really hard to tell. We'll have to let the league admins look at that. I'm not going to be the judge of that. So coming into hairpin now for the second to final time, it is Lee Hughes and Nicholas Von Roberts, and looks like Von Roberts is trying to get Lee Hughes in front of him here. We're going to have to see what happens when they come up around Spoon Curve and down to 130R though to start the final lap. Is Lee Hughes going to stay behind, or is Von Roberts going to put on the brakes to make Lee Hughes pass him, or is Adam Miles just going to get up there and fly by past both of them? This is a very tricky situation for all of them. Obviously Lee Hughes where he wants to be in 1 lap's time, but going to be real hard to stay there. Here they come though, onto the straightaway for the second to final time, and who is it going to be?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting here, watching with intent. It looks like Hughes is going to go around the outside,
He just
and
slammed
Von
on the
Roberts
brakes.
lets him go. Oh, is he going to have a move up the inside into the chicane? He is not. So this is going to be an interesting final lap here as they come across the line. Be interesting to see if Adam Miles can get back up and make a move on Von Roberts this lap.
They backed out so much coming down to 130R and the Casio Triangle. Adam Miles is now right on their tail, but the gap down to Anthony Cat in 4th is 2 seconds, so that should not be an issue. Here he comes up the inside of Von Roberts. He retakes the lead.
That's
Why
what Hughes
does
wanted.
he do that?
That is what Hughes has wanted. I'm unsure. I feel like we're going to get some heavy defending. He's going to probably go on that inside and defend it like hell. But we can see here Adam Miles is pushing his absolute heart out. He is so close to Hughes, and he just wants to get into that second position, looking to take any gap he can. He's so close to it.
Yeah, now through Degner Curve for the final time. I'm not really sure why Von Roberts chose to take the lead there, but maybe he had no choice. Maybe Lee Hughes lifted off the gas so much that he had to take it, or Adam Miles was going to pass them both. Here they come now, though. He's got a little bit of a gap now down to Lee Hughes, and Adam Miles is going to throw it up the inside here. I'm thinking that Miles is looking for a 3 wide, coming down to 130R. Coming up now to 200R first, long right hand corner, and then up into Spoon Curve. And then we will see what's going to happen. I would not be surprised to see them 3 wide here, but Vaughan Roberts has a little bit of a gap that is not going to be ideal to him. The gap down to the next group is over 2 seconds now, so they are not going to be a factor unless these 3 take each other out. Lee Hughes is not getting much closer here either through Spoon as Vaughan Roberts goes really wide. Here we come onto the straightaway. Who is it going to be? Vaughan Roberts goes defensive straight away. He's going to show that he's going to take the inside. Here comes Lee Hughes. Is he going to be close enough? Adam Miles is right on his tail as well. Here comes Adam Miles. He's going to be looking to the outside. Lee Hughes is not going to get there. So they're going to be 2 wide behind Vaughan Roberts. Coming into 130R. Who's it going to be? Lee Hughes gets the jump on Adam Miles again. Coming down to the Casio triangle. Who is it going to be? He's not going to be even near enough to make a move here. So Nicholas Vaughan Roberts is going to come into Casio with the lead. He's going to come out of it still with the leader, side by side behind as well. But here comes Nicholas Vaughan Roberts around final turn, or last curve even, to the start finish line. He's going to win at Suzuka with Lee Hughes in second and Adam Miles in third. And that was not what I expected to see on the final lap. Behind him, Anthony Catt just holds off Clark Williams. Nathan Wade and George Mattock and Tom Ward almost going 3 wide across the line. Here's Pattinson just leading Bernowski, Stack, Peasley and Miles. We're on board here with Peasley, who's going to have to stay behind Tony Stack. He's going to have a look, but it's not going to be enough before they cross the line, so he'll have to settle for 14th. Here is Aaron Gearing leading the way ahead of Phil McDougall. Simon Edwards is back in this battle as well. And Mud Kiko back there as Edwards goes a little bit wide. Looks like Mud Kiko is going to come around, but Aaron Gearing is going to grab 16th position here. And here comes Kiko around the outside of Edwards. Wonder if he might have got a slowdown or something there, but Mud Kiko to 18th, and Simon Edwards recovers to 19th with Benny Simonson behind in 20th. So that's most certainly going to be drop weeks for both of those guys. But Nicholas Vaughan Roberts, what a race, as we have a crash here with David Clapham and John McKenzie for 23rd and 24th on the final lap. And it looks like McKenzie is going to park it there. Get a replay of that here, I believe, coming into the corner. Just runs into the back of him and spins him out and parks it. So, but Nicholas Vaughan Roberts, what a drive at the end there, and he got enough of a gap to Lee Hughes that he wasn't able to catch up there on the final lap.
Yeah, it's quite fascinating to me, to the fact that he couldn't actually catch up there, because I thought it was going to be a sure thing to get that win. But Nick Vaughan Roberts, what a move! A decision to make that move up the inside has clearly paid off.
Definitely has, and he's going to come away with the victory. 1.5 tenths ahead of Lee Hughes in second, with Adam Miles in third, and then almost a 3-second gap down to Anthony Catt in fourth, Clark Williams in fifth, Nathan Wade in sixth, George Mattock in seventh, Tom Ward in eighth, Daniel Tufts in ninth, and Anthony P.M. Jones rounds out the top 10. With Ewan Pattinson in 11th, Andrew Bernowski in 12th, Tony Stack in 13th, Ray Peasley 14th, Christopher Miles in 15th, Aaron Gearing in 16th, Phil McDougall 17th, Mud Kiko in 18th, Simon Edwards recovers to 19th, and Benny Simonson recovers to 20th after having gone in the wall. Then we go Alan Patterson in 21st, Peter Parnell in 22nd, David Clapham 23rd, Dave Dowson 24th, John McKenzie in 25th, as you saw, Seth Brown in 26th, and then Tim Adcock recovers to finish as the final car on the lead lap. The rest of the cars are up on your screen. Neil Andrews, the only car finishing 1 lap down. So not too many cars that got DNFs here today, despite all these incidents that we saw, which is quite interesting. But still, a great race at the front, great race all the way through the field, and a lot of little battles. We couldn't really keep up with them all because of all the battling going on at the front, but overall I believe that was a good race, Daniel.
Yeah, it was a really, really good race to see that fighting, that working together, and then fighting there. I had a feeling there was going to be some sort of controversy and a bit of an incident there at the front, and we saw it a couple of times there. Just one before going into 130R, one of them got spun out, and then again going down onto the front straight. And it just shows how careful you've got to be with these skippies.
definitely gonna make it interesting in the championship standings now, as none of the top 3 championship drivers, Simonson, Patterson or Pattinson, Simonson, Edwards or Pattinson I should say, was able to finish inside the top 10 here today, so probably gonna be drop weeks for all of them. We have our first interview victim for the day as well. Nathan White started 11th, drove up to P6, was in that second group battle that was able to catch the leaders at the end. Talk us through a race, Nathan.
Hi guys. Yeah, I had a good race today actually, better than last week. Me and George had a nice little session this morning actually. We did like a couple hours practice because we realised it was the GP layout and not the West layout. And so we did some practice this morning, so I'm kind of worn out today, to be fair. But it's been a good race. Managed to stay with the second pack. Yeah, not much happened, in all fairness, so relatively chill 6th place, so I'm quite happy with it.
Good stuff. It looked like you guys were just pushing everything you can, trying to race as little as possible to catch that lead group. And at one point you had caught up, but then something happened and you dropped back again. But were you hoping for a top 5 there, or possibly a top 3, or were you just happy sitting with your P6 towards the end and just get as good as you could, but not too disappointed still with the leaders pulling away?
I'll be honest. I do think I had better pace than what I showed in that race. I did make a mistake. I can't remember where it was, but on one of that, which is where I dropped off from the second pack. I'm quite glad that obviously with slipstream this big in a race like this, you can sort of catch up, and mainly because the pack will get clustered together. But I did make a couple quite big mistakes at Spoon, and lost quite a few seconds. Oh, not seconds, tenths. Other than that, it was a pretty clean race from my part.
So anybody you want to send a shout out to before we let you go?
Just you guys, and for running the broadcast, and obviously Alan for running the league. You guys do a great job, so keep it up.
Thank you. Hope to see you again next week, hopefully inside the top 10. Next up we have George, who was right behind Nathan in 7th, started in 10th, so you two were right next to each other all the way through the race there. Talk us through your race as well there, George.
Yeah, evening chaps. Yeah, it was a good race actually, coming home, I think it was in 7th. Yeah, I struggled a little bit on the first few laps for just pure grip. And maybe the car was a little bit, I don't know, a little bit twitchy here and there, but yeah, I lost a position to Anthony. Anthony went past, and I think he had a slowdown. I think we gained a couple of places from the shenanigans that was happening in front of us with Simon and Benny. I saw Benny missed me by about a couple of inches, so that was scary. So yeah, all in all, good race. Better than the first 2 weeks. My engine didn't blow up, and I wasn't taken out, so I better count my lucky stars tonight.
Yeah, it looked like you had a pretty busy race there. Nathan said it wasn't too much happening, just cruising along to try and get as much as possible, but still, it looked like a great race. So, did you have any hopes when you caught up to the leaders there of possibly getting up and fighting for the win, or were you just happy sitting back there in the back part of the pack and just getting whatever you could?
Well, me and Nathan were actually speaking to each other there for the last few laps, because we were right next to each other, so we were talking about whether we were going to go for a move. I knew that, you know, if I sent it on him or if he sent it, there's probably going to be a big crash, and gained a place in the end on Tom. I beat him by, you know, a hair coming to the line. So, yeah, I didn't want to risk it. There was, 2 corners to go. You don't want to risk your whole race and the effort you've put into practice and racing for one silly move. So I was never going to send it on anyone there. But if there was some silly moves happening in front, then I was in the best place to hoover them up, and luckily that happened with Tom, and just managed to pip him to the line.
Nice. So anybody you want to send a shout out to before we let you go?
Shout out to you guys for the broadcast, of course, and to Alan, and just to everyone in that front pack. That was pretty tasty. Yeah, it was very, very close, very enjoyable, and it's always good to have a good result. I think I've had my 2 drop weeks in the first 2 weeks, so yeah, looking forward to next week.
Good, we hope to see you there. Next up we have Daniel standing by with Mr. Andrew Baranowski.
Good evening.
And how are we, Andrew? Started 26th and finished 12th. What a race from you. That's a hefty amount of positions there. How'd you go today?
Yeah, it's a bit of an unusual one for me. I've got a race driver excuse to get out of the way first. I'm not on my usual setup, so I had to cobble something together, even during qualifying, which was why I was a little bit down from the order. But no, I really enjoyed that. As you say, managed to make up quite a few places, and it was a bit of a damage limitation race for me. Had a great race with Stack and who else was in that group? Ray Peasley and Christopher Miles as well. So really enjoyed that. Thanks guys for all the fair racing. Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Cheers to my mate Seth as well. I think he had a bit of a rough one today, but I'll catch up with him later about that.
All
Cool.
good. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Seth Brown there getting a little bit of a shout out. He finished in 24th, so not the best of days for him, unfortunately, and looks like we will stop at 3 interviews today. The usual Simon Edwards not showing up, probably not too happy with that little incident he had, so I guess we'll give him a pass today, but still has been an amazing race today at Suzuka. Nicholas von Roberts, not the usual suspect to see at the top of the podium, but it's great to see some other drivers winning as well, and not just same guys every single week after week. So going to be a nice little shake up there to the championship as well, as he will probably climb a few spots. Next week we head to Interlagos in Brazil, which is another one of these draft tracks, and last time we were there we had some amazing racing as well, so that is definitely one that you will want to tune into, but that is in 1 week's time. So today you've been watching UK&I Skippys from Suzuka. My name is Linus Broström. I've been joined as always, or well, at least today, by Daniel Harris, with Hugo Lees doing the amazing job on the cameras. So don't miss us next week, same time, same place here on RaceSpotTV in support of the Calm Zone. Until then, take care everybody and stay safe. Goodbye.